Good evening, everybody. It's Chad from Colorado Giants. It is Tuesday, June 7th or June 9th. I think it's June 9th. So it's time for your weekly update. Stay tuned. So we got the camera flipped around here. It's really bright. Don't have my sunglasses on, so I don't want to show you guys me just squinting. The water wall is off this week. So today it has been in the low 60s all day long. It has not even been near 70 degrees, but it is a very nice mid 70s in here. It got up to 85 in here today, so that's wonderful. The plants are loving it, getting some growth despite the cold temperatures, so that's wonderful. But I've shut off the wet wall. So I shut off the wet wall yesterday late afternoon as I knew that cool down was coming, so I can spray this. So a big chunk of the leak was coming out of the face of this. I'm seeing a few little drips of water, and I got it on my finger. Darn it. So I hit it with the rubberized sealer, and it looks like it's working for the most part on the top. I still see a few drips down there, but I might just have to live with a few drips because at this juncture I don't want to take this all apart. Right now I just don't have the time to take this wet wall all the way apart to get at this in its totality. So whatever is, and that will be for the rest of the season. If I have a little bit of a leak, so be it. I'll get over it. But as far as the plants go, like I said, the weather this week has been crazy. On Sunday and on Monday, we had gusts both days in excess of 60 miles an hour. Sunday, somebody said nearby they had a gust of 80, and knock on wood, the Rimmel greenhouse held its ground. The structure as a whole was definitely shaken quite a bit, but it held. So it was shaken but not stirred. I did made some progress on the irrigation system. Now that the plants are kind of up and running, I really need to get that down. This is the one section that I did complete, and I do have a video coming out on this. I just want to get it done first before I do put out that video. I have my time-lapse cameras going, so I have a time-lapse camera there on the 1894 Urana, trying to get the trellises, or the tendrils rather, wrapping around those kebabs, because I think that'd be pretty cool, and just to show some short-term growth. And then I have another time-lapse camera right here. It's going to get the patch as a whole growing throughout the season. So I am pretty excited about that. I need to water the plants. I didn't do it today because it was still a little bit of holdover from yesterday. So let me show you how I'm fertilizing and watering the plants right now. So once a week is all I'm fertilizing right now. So once a week I give them a splash of CalMag. They get a tablespoon of calcium nitrate, which bag is hardened because I was when Max was helping me water the other day, got a little bit of it in there, so it's somewhat hardened, so that's unfortunate. I'll just have to break off a chunk that I think is an approximation of my tablespoon now. There we go, broke up a little bit. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Get my finger out of the frame. There we go, so we'll just throw that in there. And a little bit more. So there we go. We'll call that a tablespoon. And then we got a bunch of these sample sizes of Neptune's Harvest at a meeting. And we're going to do a splash of that. So I do that for all 4 plants. I have the sprinklers, or the hoses rather, set up now at intervals. We'll do the back first. At intervals, so one hose is good for 2 plants, which is real nice. So you can see I have it here hanging down between the 2 separate plants. Turn this on jet. And we'll mix it up. And this is all I do for the first, usually 2 or 3 weeks, is just kind of, you don't want to inundate the pumpkins, or the plants rather, with fertilizer right away. You want to nudge them, and once they are growing well, then you can really start to hit them more with your full strength fertilizing, because they're babies right now for all intents and purposes. Something that I did since the last update was the walking boards, so that's kind of neat because now you can really see the area in between, or the area that each plant gets. So this plant, then it helps just visually define and divide them. So this is this. Don't really need to watch me water all the plants. I'm going to go do this, and then I'll show you watering. So one thing I want to mention, if you're watering, or when you're watering your young pumpkin plants, or just pumpkin plants in general, and it's that just don't put your hose right here and call it good. I mean, that is, you do want to do that. You do want to get the main root ball and the plant itself soaked really good, but I spend just as much time watering around the plants. So I'll water right here for just as long as I'm going to water right there, because I want the surrounding soil to be nice and wet and moist and encourage that root growth to go out. Because if this dirt right here is dry and the roots are all right here where the water is available to them, and it's nice and cool or warm, and that's the direction the roots want to go, we want to make that over here so that we're encouraging that root growth to expand away from just the root ball of the plant. We want it to go everywhere. And now you can kind of see the flexibility of this here hose arrangement that I have. Sure is nice being able to easily get all areas of the plant without having to drag a hose through the plant. So this is going to be really nice later in the year if I have to shut a zone down or something, or if I just want to water any particular area a little bit more. And that's all I got to say about that. So stay tuned here. In one hot second we'll cut over and I'll tell you about the plants, because we've had a good week of growth, so we're going to talk about it. Let's start in the back with the 2118 Barren plants. The 2118 Barrens are finally starting to shake it off a little bit, it looks like, and maybe get established. What kind of bug was that? Just a fly. So yeah, it is this one. This is definitely the more aggressive of the two plants. So probably next week I'm gonna make my selections and choose which will stay and which will go. Pretty much all of the selections, all the choices are quite obvious. But this one I have been hitting a little heavier with the CalMag, because you can see it needs a little bit. This newer leaf looks like it's improving, but still keeping it up. So we'll go over here to the 1911s. Oh, these new walking boards are much nicer. I use 2x10s instead of 2x8s like this one. So that's just better all around. 2x10s are my new suggestion. These are the 1911s. 1911s are looking really good. Out of all the plants, this is the plant that's probably the most CalMag hungry. So you see still the yellow speckling in the plant. Currently the choice is quite obvious as to which one I want. Smaller plant, bigger plant. That's the plant that's doing the weird half-leaf thing as well, and I'm seeing none of that on this one. Secondary vine development is coming along quite nicely, and yeah, this one has a really yellow vine, so maybe I'll get lucky and get a super orange 1911. Last year's 1911 Bernie was pretty orange looking. Memo to self, these are right at head height. Don't bang head into them. 1894 Urana. This is still the standout. The plant is looking really, really good. The leaves are happy, nice, rich, dark green color, low to the ground. They're not really stretching for anything. The secondary vine development is looking good. Heck, we even have a little pumpkin on this one that I'm just going to let grow for kicks because I have the time-lapse camera right there. So just for funsies, scoot this over. And then the other 1984 Baron, unfortunately, that one is probably going to be the one that gets yanked. As much as I don't want to, you know, the 1894 is simply winning the fight. Bushel gourd looking good, starting to vine. So get some vine action on that guy. And over here, it's probably one of the most interesting ones we'll talk about, is the two orange plants. So the 1002 Alts was and is a ribbon vine, but just today, or yesterday actually, the ribbon vine I noticed was branching off into two separate main vines. So right here where my pinky is, that's where the vine unfused itself, and I pinched that off. So now what is in my hand is the new main vine. As much as I want to choose this 1501 over here, and I still may, you know, well, if I'm being honest, the idea of the ribbon vine plant is just not super appealing. But if you look at the two plants, I mean, this plant is much more substantial than that plant. So I don't know, because I'm not necessarily going for a world record with these orange plants, maybe I'll stick with 1002 Alts. I don't know. I just don't know. What else do I got? That is probably it for this week. Make sure to go to the Facebook page, because I take a picture every week, a side-by-side picture, so you can see the growth, because sometimes week to week in video format, it's hard to follow. It's hard for me to follow and see the growth. That's why I take the pictures. But that's it, guys. If you have any questions, comment below. Appreciate you watching. Get out there, grow yourself giant pumpkin.